It is 3 p.m., and that is a group of very hungry people standing in line for free food. Elderly men and women, people with disabilities, young mothers, and children. This is the Silicon Valley of India, Bengaluru. On Google Maps, you would look for the regional passport office. Right across the street, the Rajendra Nagara slum, the largest slum in Bengaluru. With over 15,000 families, roughly about 100,000 people live in this community. Many migrants and almost all extremely poor.
But Rajendra Nagara was an absolute slum. There were no roads, there were no street lights, dilapidated houses, so on and so forth.
You're listening to ImpactPlease, a charity podcast, and your host, Usha Rao. Each episode is an exclusive showcase of one grassroots nonprofit. Be the change you want to see and invest in lasting impact.
In this episode, we take you to the Swabhimaan Charitable Trust.
It's almost a 365 days a year work, but work is pleasure for me. It's my absolute passion. I actually had to drag myself away from work because I feel more happy, more at home in the community that you visited me.
Venkatraman Iyer speaks fast and very passionately. He is the founder of Swabhimaan, a not-for-profit organization, meaning self-respect or dignity in Sanskrit. Venkat is joining me from New Zealand, his second vacation in 20 years. The first was 10 years ago for his daughter Swati's graduation from the Royal College of Arts, London. Comparisons between there and here always seem to dictate Venkat's life. The contrast was stark and naked, he says.
I mean, we would come back to Bombay on vacations and see the hunger, the poverty, the misery, and Middle East was abundance.
This was the late 90s, and Venkat was working with Unilever in the Sultanate of Oman. The company paid for the car, house, insurance, children's education, vacations, and even travel home. He was living a pensioner's life, he says, while so many people back home were hungry and starving.
But the ones who are not are bloody lucky. So it used to prick my conscience.
I think, right from day one, like when we got married only, we thought we are going to come back and do something. We would come on a vacation, we would see the contrast. The life there was so comfortable. And whenever we come back, and we were all the more sure that we want to come back and do something.
That is Vijaya, Venkat's better half. 25 years later, you can still hear it in her voice, the firmness, the urgency. And Venkat? He was 44 when the altruistic streak in him emerged.
But my wife used to tell me that if you're not, young, you can't do community work. At the age of 60 and beyond, actually, we ourselves need help. How are we going to help others?
It is 1999. Venkat, Vijaya, 10-year-old Swati, and their savings are all back in India to the city of Bengaluru.
Bangalore was a completely new city for us. We didn't know Kannada. We didn't know people around this place. Obviously, we had no experience in social work and no qualifications in social work also. So it was a gamble, but I think the intent was very, very clear.
Once in Bengaluru, they were on a mission. You know Maqsad? They rolled up their sleeves and off to work it was. Venkat and Vijaya, let's call them the V's, narrowed their focus to children of very young women from low-income families.
In the lower income families, this is extremely common that a young girl gets married to a man who's essentially a good for nothing, but she supports him. And the moment she delivers a girl child, this man who's living off his wife's income has the audacity to throw her out because she's delivered a girl child.
Because here, boys are assets and girls liabilities. The mothers could not leave the little girls alone while they went off to work odd jobs. The V's decided on adoption, but informal adoption, because technically both parents of the children were alive. Now, those are the unfortunate girl children who were informally adopted.
I was the first one. I believe I was 2.5 years old.
This is Preeti
5, 4.5, 5 probably.
and Divya.
I lost my parents in my schooling actually. So it was in my 8th standard. So that is when my life just flipped.
And Sheba.
I had another 14 sisters who joined us.
And that was the limit 15. 15 girl children, almost all between the ages of 2 and 5 years old.
We could have had 100 more, but then I wouldn't have known their aptitudes, I wouldn't have known their weaknesses, I would not have been able to invest on their strengths.
I just knew one thing, that when I brought up my daughter, it would be the same way I have to do. That's it. And when we have a whole lot, no, it's much easier to have a discipline and to bring them up. It was much, much easier. And I would definitely say the contribution from my daughter was great.
Auntie, as the girls call her, had a large mother's heart and the right formula.
Auntie is a person who has been with us as soon as we come back from school. She would always be there. But never there has been one hitting on us. She would make her do our homework, studies, all of it.
But she never ever yelled at us actually.
Let's go back to the adoption for a moment. Next to their home in Koramangala, the V's rented a villa just for the girls and a couple of helpers. The mothers visited once a month to ensure their girls were safe and happy, which they were. Much like Swathi, the informally adopted kids went to school, dance, and music classes. And when they got home,
So we would play cricket every other day, and uncle would be the umpire there. So he would be part of 2 days of this terrace playing and all of it. And it used to be like the other 3 days would be like long walks.
Every sense, they were our children, except that I could not give them my surname.
We address them as uncle and auntie, but of course, I know all of us know that they're actually our moms and dads.
the fathers have never been part of their lives. The mothers, though, are back now.
We live with our moms. Like Preeti lives with her mother. I also live with my mother. All of us, in fact, all of us.
So there was the time, the energy, and the drive to raise 16 children. But money? First, personal savings, then extended family and friends from India, the Middle East, US, Canada, New Zealand, Australia.
Because they were all doing well and they knew that I would only put their money to good use, they started funding me. So the program started with individual well-wishers initially.
It has been 24 years since the adoptions, and Venkat can hardly contain his joy about how they all have fared.
3 are engineers. One is doing a master's in Canada. One is a clinical psychologist. One is a professional dancer. 2 work for a company called HP. One works for a company called DXC.
First 16 years have been spent with uncle and auntie. So almost our value system is shaped up. It cannot be disrupted by the other external environment.
Oh, yes, it's probably the best thing that has ever happened to me because I don't think I cannot imagine my life what it would have been without them.
Yes, it takes a village to raise a child. It took just Venkat and Vijaya to raise 16 in all. While the children were off at school, well, there was more time. Venkat and Vijaya also went to school to substitute as English teachers in government schools. That's when Rajendra Nagara happened. Venkat and Vijaya devised programs that address the needs of students, women, the elderly, and children. It all happened organically over 20 plus years.
Every single person that we touch in our lives, our goal is to make sure that they stand up on their own feet and live lives of dignity. If a woman does that, Usha, she transforms an entire family.
मैं सुबह शाम काम करती हूँ यहाँ 10 रुपये फीस लेने को गरीबों के लिए हेल्प कर रही डॉक्टर ट्रीटमेंट अच्छा
Swabhimaan's flagship project, Microfinance, has a woman at the center and women all around. Women from the Rajendra Nagara slum for whom every day is a struggle.
I feel my life is so comfortable. I have everything in life, and they have to struggle for each and everything, just paying the fees for the kids, buying something for themselves, or going on a small visit to a temple.
Vijaya, the woman at the center, she had another feeling, another urge, like the one that brought them back to India.
This is one way, we can get and help them in a small way, like, small amount without any interest.
And you heard that right. No interest. As a woman from the community with a small business idea, you can get 10,000 rupees. What guarantees should you provide?
No collateral at all. I want them to feel very respected, and I want them to be very honest by trusting them. And that in turn, I feel that they will stay by that and return my money at the right time.
The money is put to work by funding small women-owned businesses.
These are simple businesses. Tailoring is a sewing machine. Somebody selling vegetables, somebody selling chicken and biryanis and other things on the street.
And we do this women empowerment, like taking catering orders for them.
Yes.
ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ರಾಜೇಂದ್ರ ನಗರ, ಅಂಬೇಡ್ಕರ್ ನಗರ, ಎಲ್ಲಾರ ನಗರ, ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಸ್ಲಮ್ಗಳಿಗೂ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೇಷನ್, ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿ ರೇಷನ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಒಂದು ಕಷ್ಟದ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರು
Swabhimaan supports about 900 women entrepreneurs and counting. Empowering women.
It's an addiction.
He is a motivational speaker. He's a teacher trainer. He's an NLP trainer. He's a corporate trainer, so on and so forth. For a slum kid to have developed himself to a level where he is a role model in the community is quite amazing. Children love him, Usha.
Venkat again, the father figure, proudly introducing his protege Arif Pasha. Arif, a self-taught young man from the community, was a medical transcriptionist when
one fine day I had to choose either medical transcription or following my passion into teaching. And I had to take the decision of choosing my dream, and I started chasing my dream. I saw the need in the community.
Arif runs the Youth Empowerment Program. The mission to make youth employable. But the latest project that Arif is super excited to oversee, the Swabhimaan Nutrition Program. This program was born in response to compelling data from communities like Rajendra Nagara.
Instead of working on the problem, why don't we work on the root cause?
Studies have linked poor academic outcomes to the lack of proper nutrition of the mother and child before, during, and after childbirth. First, a baseline survey was done that covered 6,500 households. 60% of these households had women between the ages of 18 and 49.
We call them MWRA, Married Women of Reproductive Age.
The women get regular awareness sessions on menstrual hygiene, pregnancy, childbirth, and nutrition. They are spoon-fed with guidance to use the government programs. Registering at local Anganwadis, free nutrition rations, free hospital services, and a lot more.
Almost like 18 to 19 of the children were severely, acutely malnourished.
We are talking about home delivery of medical services to 3,000 women and 500 children 0 to 3 years of age.
ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಮನೆ ಹತ್ರನೇ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಬಂದು ಏನಾದರೂ ಅವಳು ಸಣ್ಣ ಗಿಣ್ಣ ಇದ್ದು ವೆಯ್ಟ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಜೆಷನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ.
Health workers are knocking on doors every day to accomplish this.
I think in a large country like India, also we must believe that the government can only do so much. We all have to pitch in and make things work. Otherwise, we can sit and keep complaining that the government can't do it, it won't do it, so on and so forth.
Uncle and auntie have started. I'm like, it's quite next to impossible to think even where Swabhimaan has reached now. Like how it started with uncle going to Rajendra Nagara, giving just one English classes, and then starting up this entire trust in Rajendra Nagara community is quite next to it's hard to believe like they did it.
Investing in Swabhimaan is a gift that keeps giving, and the impact is huge. The people who run the food distribution program, the teachers, nutrition advisors, and mentors are all from the community. There are many Arifs working to make the community better. And then there are Venkat and Vijaya's 15 girls.
But these girls, all of them come and work in the community with me over the weekends, wherever they find time. They pitch in with funds. They're all earning decent incomes. Say they put in a small 5% of their incomes into Swabhimaan every month.
It's Swabhimaan and Venkat sir who has transformed, because the joy of giving back, I realized when I got into Swabhimaan, like, when you are with a person who is like unconditional love towards the community, and he's like a person who is so down to earth and so humble.
Venkat in turn is very proud that Swabhimaan is here to stay and in good hands.
Just last month, Vijaya and I decided to get 5 of our daughters into the trust as trustees. So in the next 5 years, you'll see them driving a lot of these programs.
Venkat and Vijaya have successfully raised 15 girls to become independent, successful, and happy young women. You got a bird's eye view of just 2 of Swabhimaan's numerous programs that have impacted the lives of thousands of people. More in future episodes.
Inspired by this story? Visit www.swabhimaan.org. Swabhimaan welcomes donations big and small. If you're a group of friends or family inspired by Swabhimaan's work, make the journey of change together. Write to impactplease@gmail.com. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share with family and friends. This is Impact Please. Opening and closing announcements by Aparna, sitar by Sampada Bhale Rao, and guitar by Andrew Cook.